It was already dead. They just didn't know it yet. 683 billion euro fled. BASF, Volkswagen, Bosch, all running. How does the world's third largest economy collapse in 3 years? The miracle, built on borrowed gas, borrowed time, borrowed lies. And if Germany falls, who's next? Germany's economy was already dead. But in 2019, newspapers called it Europe's engine, the success story everyone studied. GDP growth stable, exports booming, manufacturing the world's envy. The official story? Germany built its miracle on genius, precision engineering, smart policy. After World War II, they called it the Wirtschaftswunder, the economic miracle. In 1948, they replaced the worthless Reichsmark with the Deutschmark. Inflation vanished overnight. Ludwig Erhard introduced free markets, deregulation, competition. Industrial output surged 50% in 6 months. Marshall Plan aid, displaced workers, returning soldiers, a massive labor pool ready to rebuild. From 1951 to 1961, GNP grew 8% annually, double the rate of the US or UK. But here's what they never told you. The miracle had a secret fuel source: cheap Russian gas. For decades, Germany's factories ran on energy that cost almost nothing. BASF, Volkswagen, Bosch, the giants of German industry, all built on one assumption: that the gas would never stop flowing, that Russia would always be reliable. By the 1970s, Germany became the world's third largest economy, export machine, manufacturing powerhouse. But in February 2022, everything changed. Russia invaded Ukraine, the gas pipeline cut, sanctions, counter-sanctions, the fuel that built Germany disappeared. Energy prices exploded. Would cost pennies, now cost euros. Chemical plants, steel mills, all bleeding money. But energy was just the beginning. China, once Germany's biggest customer, became its biggest competitor. Electric vehicles, solar panels, manufacturing. China didn't just catch up, it overtook them. German exports to China collapsed, down 23% from 2021. Billions in lost revenue vanished. Then came the tariffs. Trump's administration 2025. Steel, aluminum, automobiles, all hit with taxes. Germany's export model, the thing that made it rich, suddenly became its greatest weakness. But there was something deeper, something rotting from the inside. Bureaucracy. 150 billion euro lost annually to red tape. Approvals taking years. Innovations strangled by paperwork. And demographics. Germany was aging fast, skilled workers disappearing, labor shortages everywhere. By 2023, the cracks became canyons. GDP contracted minus 0.3%, first time in years. 2024, another contraction, minus 0.2%. The engine of Europe was sputtering to a stop. Industrial production plummeted. August 2025, down 4.3% in a single month. Factories going dark. Unemployment hit 6.3%, highest in 12 years. But the real number, the one they don't show, was worse. Business closures, 196,100 companies in 2024, a 16% spike. The bleeding had begun. And then the exodus. BASF, the chemical giant, closed its fertilizer plant in Ludwigshafen. 2,600 jobs gone. But they didn't just close, they moved. 10 billion euro invested in China. Volkswagen, 30,000 jobs on the chopping block, plants closing for the first time in its history. Bosch, shutting down power tool plants. Meyer Burger, solar factory closed. 500 jobs vanished. They called it deindustrialization, but it was more than that. It was abandonment. Since 2019, 683 billion euro fled Germany. money pouring out to the US, to China, anywhere else. By 2025, 36% of industrial firms planned job cuts. 45% considered relocating production abroad. The IFO Business Climate Index plummeted to 88.1, the lowest in years. Confidence shattered. But here's what the charts don't show. Real people, families, workers who built these factories. The average German household lost 2,500 euro, not in stock portfolios, in purchasing power. Grocery bills rising, heating costs doubling, rent climbing. The squeeze felt in every kitchen table. Manufacturing towns that thrived for generations now posting for sale signs. Empty streets. Workers in their 50s, skills obsolete overnight. No factory to return to, no pension waiting. Young engineers graduating only to find their employers have moved to Hungary, to Poland, to China. Housing crisis worsening, 2 million apartments short by 2026. Families squeezed from every direction. Insolvencies projected in 23,900 in 2025. Small businesses, the backbone, crumbling. But Germany's pain didn't stay in Germany. It spread like poison through Europe's veins. Germany accounts for 28% of EU's GDP. When it falls, the entire continent feels the tremor. Czech Republic, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, all dependent on German manufacturing, their exports dying. EU growth forecast slashed to 1.2%, down from 1.4%. Germany dragging everyone down with it. Supply chains broken, Czech factories idle, Polish suppliers losing contracts, the ripple becoming a wave. Analysts started calling it creeping deindustrialization, not just Germany, all of Europe. The irony? Defense spending surging, NATO demanding 3.5% of GDP, preparing for war while industry dies. Some said recovery is coming. 2026 projections, 0.6 to 1.5% growth. Modest, fragile, uncertain. Fiscal stimulus promised, infrastructure spending, but it's borrowed money, deficit ballooning to 4.75%. The structural problems remain. Bureaucracy untouched, energy costs still high, demographics worsening. Reforms needed, but politics frozen. The AfD rising on deindustrialization fears, paralysis everywhere. US tariffs persist, Chinese competition intensifies. The forces that broke Germany aren't going away. Some economists whisper a darker word, not recession, not stagnation, decline, permanent decline, a slow, protracted erosion of what was once Europe's greatest success story. So what happens next? Two paths, two futures, both terrifying in their own way. Path 1, Germany reforms, cuts bureaucracy, invests in green energy, adapts, survives. But survival isn't revival, even best case, modest growth, years to rebuild, a shadow of former glory. Path 2, paralysis continues, reforms stall, capital keeps fleeing, the spiral deepens. Germany becomes what Japan was in the 1990s, the lost decades, a warning, not a model. But here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. It might already be too late. The factories that left, they're not coming back. The expertise fled to China, that's permanent. The generation of workers laid off at 55, they'll never work in manufacturing again. That knowledge dies with them. The miracle that took 40 years to build collapsed in 3. In rebuilding, that could take generations. This is the real cost, not GDP numbers, not stock prices, lost futures, lost potential. And the world watches, terrified, because if Germany, the strongest, can fall this hard, what does that mean for France, Italy, Spain? The contagion has already started. The lesson? Success built on borrowed stability isn't success. It's a ticking clock. Germany thought cheap Russian gas would last forever. America thought housing prices only go up. Every empire, every miracle, every boom carries the seeds of its own destruction inside it. Germany's fall wasn't an accident. It was designed. Every dependency, every shortcut, every risk ignored. They celebrated the miracle, but never asked what happens when the miracle's foundation cracks. Now the answer is here. Factories dark, workers unemployed, an entire generation wondering what happened. And the world takes notes, writes it down, files it away. Another warning that nobody will heed, because the next miracle is already being built, somewhere, on borrowed time, on hidden cracks, born from silence.